Alright, welcome back. Olive oil's heated up. Now, next step we're going to do, we're going to put the camera down again. I'm going to take my onions. I'm going to go right into the saute pan. Okay? Now what we want to do with these onions, we don't want any caramelization. We just want to sweat them a little bit. We want to bring them to a translucent consistency. Okay? Let these onions translucent. That's all we're looking to do. And they don't even have to cook all the way through, because what we're going to do next is we're going to add our sauce. Okay? Now how I do it in a couple of stages. The first thing I'm going to do is, besides the onion, I'm going to add my garlic. Okay? So I got garlic and onion in the pot. And I'm letting them all get happy together. Alright. Next thing I'm going to do, I have whole tomatoes. Okay? One of the things that my mom told me how to do is when you have a whole tomato, you take it and you take your hand and you crush it like that. I just made a mess all over my stove. No big deal. That's what they make rags for, right? And sponges. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these whole tomatoes and I'm going to break them up with my hand like that. Okay? Very simple procedure, no big deal. It doesn't have to be a certain way or anything like that. Just break them up. That's what you want to do, is break them up. Okay? Make sure your hands are clean, obviously. Okay? A couple more in here. Break them up nice. Break them up, guys. Don't be afraid to get in there and break them up. Alright? You don't want big hunks of tomato in there. Alright. Dump the sauce in there. Now, besides that, I also have a can of tomato sauce that I'm going to dump in, so we have that filler. And I'm also going to add about a little less than a half a can of water, just to thin it out a little bit. You don't want it too thick. Okay, let me wash my hands. Sorry about not being on camera. I'll be with you in a second. Okay. Yeah, I want you to see what I'm doing here. We got the onions, the garlic, and the whole tomatoes that I broke up with my hand. And the tomato sauce as well. So it'll be a hearty sauce as well as a very flavorful one. Okay, now, I happen to have found a spice that I'm going to share with you now that I think works really well in this. Rosemary and garlic seasoning combined. Okay? Now remember, rosemary is a very powerful spice, so you don't want to get too crazy with it. Just enough to enhance the flavor a little bit. Okay? Okay. Now, most important and basic of all ingredients has to be salt. Don't be shy with the salt. And pepper. You know, you go to restaurants and you get food sometimes, and it's amazing how the only thing that's missing from it would be salt and pepper, because the chefs are concerned sometimes about, you know, people who have problems with salt and pepper and stuff. But I mean, these are the most basic flavors that you would get in just about any food that you would order. So I say use it, man. If it's too much, then send it back and we'll give it, you know, unless you order it without salt. You know, I'm not shy with salt and pepper. Never have been, and I never will be. I was taught to cook with salt and pepper at all times. Unless, like I said, the dish goes to something else. Okay. Now, next phase in the evolution. I'm hoping that this camera is capturing what I'm doing here. Okay, I got my chicken browned off very nicely. When you take a look at the chicken, there's the chicken, nice and brown, beautiful. Okay. Now this is going to be a stretch. I'm going to have to do this where I take a piece out at a time and then submerge it into the actual cacciatore sauce. Here we go. There's 1, 2. See how they're going under? That's what you want. Okay. 3, 4, 5. Yes, you will see the volume of sauce rise because you're adding something to it. 6. Okay, now, all of that goodness is at the bottom of the pan. Don't forget about that. Don't leave that. Make sure you get that in there. Here we go. Beautiful. Now, I always used to remember when my mom made this, I used to look at it and I used to say, how come it looks like it's kind of oily? And then I realized that that is not oil. It's actually the chicken flavoring from the actual chicken itself. What it renders is what really makes that wonderful cacciatore sauce. Okay, now we're going to go and cover this up. Once you see the flame here, nice and low. Let this cook for 45 minutes to an hour, okay? No less than that. When you're pretty much done and ready to go, it's going to fall off the bone. We'll come back in the final episode and I'll put it on a plate for you and you'll see what it looks like. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Culinary Composition with me, your host, Chef JC, and my sous chef, Xander. We'll see you on the final episode.